The rules and regulations for personal protective equipment, or PPE, don't change in construction based on if you work in the commercial sector or residential sector. All these requirements can be referenced in the Manitoba Regulation, Part 6. The PPE is designed to protect workers from certain hazards that they will or may be exposed to doing their tasks. Did you know that the mandatory minimum requirement for PPE in construction is a CSA-approved hard hat and CSA-approved footwear? You can see in this sign that these two pieces are clearly marked as mandatory. It makes no difference if you work within the commercial or residential sectors of construction, these must be worn while on site. Based on the hazards or the rules and policies of the site, other PPE may be mandatory as well. This can include eye protection, hearing protection, high visibility apparel, gloves, etc. All the site requirements for PPE will be discussed during your orientation. If other PPE is required on site, it should be identified on this sign as well, or the directions given by the supervisor or superintendent. Anyone entering site should wear a hard hat and CSA-approved footwear to ensure they are in compliance with the minimum standard requirements of the legislation. Let's take a look at different PPE and how it can protect a worker. There may be numerous types of PPE that may be required based on specific task hazards. This may include Tyvek suits, face shields, respiratory protection, or Met guards on footwear, just to name a few. Be sure you have read your safe work procedures and have been trained to do those tasks prior to the work being performed. But let's start at the top of a construction worker and work our way all the way down. Hard hats must be worn at all times where there is a risk of overhead or side lateral trauma to the head, as outlined in the Manitoba Regulation Part 6.11. A worker on a construction site must wear a hard hat that meets current CSA standards. During the winter months, an approved hard hat liner should be worn. Not a toque, not a hoodie, under the hard hat, as this will alter the fit of the suspension straps as well. A chin strap could be worn to secure the hard hat to the worker's head if there's a chance of dislodgement or it falling off during a task. You can reference our other virtual toolbox talk on cold stress for a better explanation of this. Workers should not be wearing a ball cap, a hoodie, a toque, or something else that affects the suspension straps from sitting on our head as designed. When we wear non-approved things under the hard hat, it greatly affects the protection because the fit is altered. Workers may wear a welder's beanie cap to help keep sweat off their head, or an approved hard hat sweatband on the front of the straps. These things will not alter the overall fit of the hard hat or the suspension straps. Your hard hat should be stamped with the CSA standard. You should be aware of the manufacturing date of your hard hat. There will be 1 or 2 circle icons located close to or on the brim. Around the edge will have the numbers, and in the center will have an arrow. If you have 1 circle, this will show you the months around the edge and the last 2 digits on the year of the arrow that the hard hat was manufactured. If you have 2 circles, the extra circle will have an arrow pointing to the day of the month as well. Typically, as a best practice, based on regular wear and tear from industry, they should be replaced every 5 years. To check for defects on your hard hat, unless it is a fiber metal design, you can squeeze the sides and it should come back to shape. While doing this, listen for breakage and cracking sounds. The question always arises, what about stickers on hard hats? Now, construction or orientation stickers are fine. Other fun types of stickers, such as pro sports teams or bands, etc., may deteriorate the plastic of the hard hat because of the type of glue that is used. Workers should be aware during the inspection process that stickers may cover cracks in the hard hat. Be sure to look on the inside as well, checking for hidden damage. We should also check the liner straps for cuts and defects. This will alter our protection if they are damaged. CSA-approved safety glasses are made with a material called polycarbonate plastic. In layman's terms, think of it as a trampoline. The lens will absorb the impact, then reflect it right back away from the area to give the worker the protection that they need. If you look at your safety glasses, usually located on the arm, you'll notice the CSA marking. While inspecting your glasses, we should look for scratches on the lenses that may affect our vision. Make sure the arms are in good condition and they will fit securely over our ears. Safety glasses do come in different tint colors depending on your work environment. Yellow for low light, smoke gray for indoor-outdoor, and a dark for a nice hot outdoor summer day. Be sure to select the correct lens for your task, but be aware that not all workplaces or companies will allow tinted lenses. So if you're unsure, check with your supervisor or the prime contractor first. Hand protection is sometimes dismissed in construction due to certain tasks requiring dexterity, grip, or even hot weather. But hand and finger injuries, especially cuts and abrasions, can be reduced or avoided by wearing proper gloves. There are so many different styles and types of gloves available that something will work practically for every situation. There are gloves for shock absorption, gloves that are cut resistant, gloves that have top of hand impact protection, gloves for chemical use, just about everything. Typically, we think of leather gloves as the best protection, but these can be hot and bulky, which will deter workers from wearing them. Cut resistant gloves come in levels 1 through level 9 of cut protection. Depending on the industry or materials being handled, level 1 is the lowest amount of protection, whereas level 9 offers the best. All levels of cut and or puncture resistance can be found on the back of the glove. There are different ways that manufacturers will identify these gloves. Be sure you know what these numbers mean. Depending on your tasks, you may consider impact resistant gloves. These will have padding on them which will assist in lessening the impact of a tool or materials that may injure the hand. If you are using chemicals, be sure to read the safety data sheets to ensure you have the correct type of glove, which may be a rubber or nitrile style, or a specific chemical resistant style. Inspecting your gloves is pretty simple. We are looking for excessive cuts or wear, marks that may cause a worker injury by either a cut or puncture, checking for the fit. Make sure it's snug and not too loose, which may get caught in tools or equipment. If you're not sure which size of glove you should wear, you can reference a chart for proper sizing measurement of your hand. Gloves should fit snugly but not too tight, which may restrict blood flow or movement. And conversely, not too loose, which may cause a further hazard or even fall off. CSA approved footwear comes in numerous styles. We can purchase 8-inch boots, 6-inch boots, hiker style boots, dress shoes, rubber boots, athletic style shoes. There are so many different styles. Some boots will be built for certain types of industry or work environments. Some will be manufactured with different types of materials for protection as well, such as steel versus composite. Some may have rubber toe caps or metatarsal protection. Each material or boot will have its own pros and cons. To verify your footwear is approved for use in Canada, you should look for the CSA symbol, sometimes located on both feet, but always located on the right foot at minimum. Your footwear should have the green triangle. This is the best protection for construction, as it will protect your toes from falling objects and the soles of your feet from punctures. The other symbols may be used in other industries, such as manufacturing, warehousing, forestry, etc. Sometimes workers do forget their approved footwear at home. It happens. But that doesn't mean they should work on site with non-approved shoes. As it may be more comfortable to work in your athletic shoes, it will offer no protection against falling objects or punctures. Even worse is if a worker wears sandals on a job site, and yes, I've seen that happen. There is still no protection from worksite hazards. CSA approved steel toe caps will withstand up to 6,000 pounds of weight impacting that area. In comparison, a CSA approved composite toe can withstand 1.1 metric tons. Again, each material has its pros and cons. These boots will also be protecting the worker from a penetration through the sole. Both have a heel to toe plate that will stop punctures of nails, screws, or other long, sharp objects from breaking through the sole of the footwear and causing an injury. When we inspect our footwear, there are numerous things we need to look for that can become defective over time due to the nature of industry. So, let's take a closer look. We need to start with the laces. There should be no abrasions or cuts. All the eyelets should be in good condition with no sharp edges. Next, we look at the upper, the overall boot. We want to look for loose stitching where debris may get in our boot or the boot may be falling apart. Look for cut-throughs on the leather or whatever material you have. We should also be sure that the steel or composite toe is not exposed. It should be covered and protected by the upper or a rubber toe cap. Finally, we look at the soles. How much grip is there? Is the sole still attached to the upper or is it flopping around? Look for cracks in the sole that may break down the overall protection of the boot and cause injuries. Your boots are designed to last 12 to 24 months. Will they last longer? Possibly, but we need to remember that due to the nature of construction and the abuse our feet take on a daily basis on site, the boots should be replaced when they start to break down. Different industries will have different exposure elements, which in turn will affect how long a pair of boots will last. If you keep your boots in good condition and inspect them regularly, they may last you a long time. As we mentioned at the beginning, your hard hat and safety footwear are the minimum requirements to be worn on all construction sites. These two items are classified as basic PPE. Workers will be responsible to provide their own basic PPE. There may be some employers that will provide a hard hat or give a boot allowance, but it is not regulated for that to happen. When you hear the term specialized PPE, this is everything else: harnesses and lanyards, safety glasses, face shields, hearing protection, high visibility, respiratory protection, gloves. You get the idea. Legislation states in Part 6.4 to 6.6 that a hard hat and safety footwear are the financial responsibility of the employee. All other specialized PPE is the financial responsibility of the employer. But this may mean that the worker will purchase a PPE item, then the employer will reimburse them. If a specialized PPE item is made available, but the worker wants something different, say they want tinted safety glasses, but the employer only provides clear safety glasses, the employer may not be required to cover the cost of the tinted lenses because safety glasses are made available. When we identify the hazards of the job or tasks we will be doing for the day, we can select the appropriate PPE. Be sure to inspect the PPE prior to wearing it to ensure you'll be protected as designed by the manufacturer. If the PPE is not sufficient in some way, it becomes defective, or is not available when you need a replacement, communicate this to the supervisor or employer. All PPE inspections should be documented as verification was done and what, if any, defects were found. In some cases, your PPE is the last line of control for certain hazards that you will be exposed to. In order to work effectively, the proper PPE must be available and worn properly. Your PPE is the last barrier between you and the hazard in most cases. Remember that the PPE requirements do not change based on the sector, residential or commercial construction that you are working in. Be sure to check out CSAM's other virtual toolbox talks available from our website at constructionsafety.ca. And remember that your PPE is the last line of defense to protect you on a job site. So be sure you wear the appropriate PPE to reduce the chances of a serious injury occurring. And keep working hard, wear your PPE, and stay safe out there.